Beautiful girls born into poor families have often suffered tragic fates throughout history. They are like delicious cakes, everyone wants a bite, but no one wants to pay the price. In this visually stunning film, every wrong decision the girl makes pushes her faster toward the abyss. At 18, Tess is pure and flawless, elegant and breathtaking. No matter where she goes, she always catches the eyes of the opposite sex. After a lively gathering of young people, Tess returns to her crumbling home. As soon as she walks in, her mother excitedly tells her some good news. Their father has discovered a distant relative, one who is extremely wealthy. But Tess reminds her mother that their most urgent concern is to deliver fresh honey to the town market the next morning. Otherwise, the family will have nothing to eat. Her alcoholic father is often drunk at the tavern, so all the heavy labor falls on Tess. At dawn, Tess sets out with the cart, rushing to deliver the honey to the market 50 kilometers away. But halfway there, a nobleman's carriage comes barreling toward her. Tess swerves too late, and both carriages overturn. In a fit of anger, the nobleman's servant kills Tess's horse. To the wealthy, the horse is just meat, but for Tess's family, it was their most valuable asset. Without the horse, they can no longer transport potatoes from the mountains or sell honey at the market. Her mother is deeply worried about how they will survive. A few days later, under her mother's persuasion, Tess agrees to visit the wealthy relatives, hoping they might offer some assistance. After a day's walk, Tess reaches their estate and is awestruck by the grand mansion. As she hesitates in the courtyard, a middle-aged man approaches her. After a brief conversation, she learns that he is the eldest son of the household. By lineage, that makes him Tess's cousin. Tess quickly pulls out a family heirloom symbolizing the Durbeyfield name. But the man seems uninterested. His eyes linger on Tess, scanning her from head to toe. Still, the man Alec greets her warmly. He promises to inform his mother and reply to them soon. Tess never meets the lady of the house and returns home under Alec's lingering gaze. A week later, they receive a letter from Mrs. Durbeyfield. In it, she invites Tess to manage the poultry farm at their estate, and promises generous monthly wages. Her mother is overjoyed by the news, carrying the hopes of her entire family. Tess decides to take the job. Alec personally drives the carriage to pick her up, but the moment they leave the village, Alec begins to act flirtatiously. Despite Tess's resistance, he tries to kiss her. Tess purposely drops her hat and uses the excuse to walk the rest of the way. On her first day, the housekeeper sends her to report to the old lady on the farm's conditions. Only then does Tess realize the old lady has been blind for years. Clearly, the invitation letter was written by Alec himself. But to lessen her family's burden, Tess swallows the deception and chooses to stay. She works diligently and responsibly. Alec often comes to see her, saying odd things to her. Rumors eventually reach the old lady, and she warns Alec not to disgrace the family name. They had paid handsomely to acquire the noble Durbeyfield title. She wants her son to avoid entanglements with a poor girl like Tess. But Alec pays no attention to her warnings. He continues to visit Tess regularly, showing care and concern. His actions stir jealousy among the other girls. One evening, while returning to the dormitory after work, the girls gang up and attack Tess. Thankfully, Alec arrives just in time to stop the chaos. Tess is deeply grateful. Alec takes her on a ride deep into the forest. He tells her he recently gave her parents a horse and 20 francs to help with expenses. Tess is moved. Taking advantage of the moment, Alec ignores Tess's resistance and forces himself on her. What happened feels like a nightmare to Tess. In a time when a girl's chastity meant everything, Tess suddenly becomes an adult. Misfortune continues to pile up. She knows Alec will never marry her. And she's not the only victim on the estate. Refusing to live without dignity, Tess leaves the farm and returns to her hometown. She resumes farm life, but the light in her eyes is gone. She no longer attends youth gatherings. 7 months after returning home, Tess gives birth to Alec's child. Unsure if she even has a future, her father, ashamed of the illegitimate baby, refuses to let the doctor enter. Even when the child is burning with fever, Tess prays all night with the child in her arms, but the baby doesn't survive. She buries her child alone. Her family's coldness leaves her heartbroken. She decides to leave home and start over in a place where no one knows her. She believes that after the darkness passes, she'll have a different life. A cattle farm owner hires her. He is kind and treats all workers well. Here, no one asks about anyone's past. Everyone gets along peacefully. One morning at breakfast, Tess's graceful speech catches the attention of a young man behind her. His name is Claire, an educated scholar. He's come to the countryside to learn about dairy farming. They quickly become close. Tess is passionate about romantic literature. They often talk about novels and stories. Claire is drawn to her melancholy charm. Like a first love, Claire is the dream man of all the farm girls. Every move he makes stirs their hearts. Soon, the boss assigns Tess and Claire to work together herding cattle. Spending more time together, their feelings deepen. Even the accidental brush of their hands while gathering wild herbs makes their hearts race. One Sunday morning on the way to church, the girls are stopped by a large puddle. Claire passes by and offers to help. The girls secretly beam with joy. He carries them one by one. When it's Tess's turn, she refuses, but Claire lifts her up anyway, saying he only did this to get close to her. It's the first time he confesses his feelings. Though Tess likes him too, she feels unworthy of love. Their co-workers encourage her not to miss true love. Meanwhile, Claire rushes home to tell his parents he's found someone, but when they hear Tess is just a poor farm girl, they object strongly. Claire says a loveless marriage is the true tragedy. His parents believe the best match would be the schoolteacher who grew up with Claire, a woman who secretly loved him for years. Claire knows this too, but Tess has completely changed his mind. 2 days later, Claire gives up his inheritance and returns to the farm. He pours out his deep love for Tess and asks her to marry him. Tess is torn with pain. Her shameful past and low self-esteem make her hesitate, but Claire's pure heart touches her. She doesn't want to miss this man. With Claire's gentle patience, Tess embraces their love. They hold a simple wedding, witnessed by the boss and co-workers, to give Tess a better life. Claire rented a cozy manor as their marital home. Everything seemed so perfect. Claire even spent a fortune to buy Tess an expensive set of jewelry. Seeing how beautiful and radiant Tess looked, Claire felt like he had found a precious treasure. To show his loyalty, Claire confessed to Tess that he had once dated a middle-aged woman during his time studying abroad. Tess wasn't upset at all. Instead, she was deeply moved. She was touched that Claire was being completely honest with her, not realizing that such confessions might be commonplace for men, but could be a devastating blow for women. Without hesitation, she also confessed that she had once been assaulted by Alec. Before she could even finish speaking, Claire's expression changed drastically. Tess never expected such a reaction. She only wanted to be honest with the man she loved. But Claire angrily accused her of deception, saying that the Tess he was seeing now was not the same person he had fallen in love with. On their wedding night, neither of them slept a wink. The next morning, Claire told her that he couldn't bring himself to accept what she had said. He asked Tess to give him some time to process everything. He planned to go back to Paris to continue his studies. If he could come to terms with everything, he promised he would return. But until then, he did not want Tess to contact him. On the third day of their marriage, Claire sent Tess away, but Claire had no idea that Tess had nowhere else to go. Alone in the rain and darkness, she was afraid only her wedding ring gave her strength. The next day, Tess wandered aimlessly once again, and in the woods, she unexpectedly ran into the former butler from Alec's estate. Seeing the desolate Tess, the man harassed her with vulgar words. Tess struggled to escape, a fear even more terrifying than the night burning in her heart. Thankfully, a childhood friend took her, and though his own life was far from ideal, brought Tess to the farm where she worked, and they began working together harvesting potatoes. Though the labor was harsh, at least it was enough to keep them from starving. But the overseer of the farm turned out to be the same butler who had insulted her the day before. He mocked her for being slow and threatened to expose her shameful past to everyone, not wanting to drag us down or cause her to lose her job. Tess left quietly without saying goodbye, so Tess continued searching for work. But in those times, there were very few jobs available to women. Exhausted in both body and soul, she unexpectedly ran into Alec again. Alec noticed how destitute Tess looked and chased after her, offering to help. But Tess hated him so much she would rather starve to death. Still, Alec managed to find her again, this time doing backbreaking labor. Once more, he pleaded with Tess to accept his help for the sake of the child she had borne him. But Tess refused again. Even when Alec said he was willing to put aside all judgment and marry her, Tess remained unmoved. Claire was still the unwavering faith in her heart. Even now, she still hoped Claire would return. 5 years passed, yet there was no news from Claire. Tess continued doing physical labor typically done by men, day after day. One day, Alec came to find her again. Faced with Tess's cold expression, Alec exploded in anger. He felt he had humbled himself to the extreme, yet still couldn't earn her forgiveness. He vowed to make Tess pay and swore that he would get her no matter what. Soon after, Tess's younger sister found their father had suffered severe alcohol poisoning from long-term drinking. It was a dire situation. After taking care of their father's funeral, Tess brought her younger siblings back to their hometown. What they didn't know was that Alec was secretly watching them from nearby with ill intent. Upon arriving home, They were told their house had been mortgaged. The family of 8 was left homeless. Their mother complained that all their misfortunes were Tess's fault. With no other choice, they took shelter in an abandoned church. Tess didn't understand she hadn't done anything wrong, so why was fate punishing her so cruelly? She could roam alone, but her younger siblings still needed to survive. She was completely at a loss. This time, they faced an unprecedented crisis. At that moment, Alec appeared. He said that no one but him could help them now. He promised to arrange everything for Tess's family the next day, but only if Tess agreed to go with him. Just like that, 3 years passed. Claire, who had vanished for so long, suddenly returned home. He read through all the letters Tess had written him over the years. Despite all the suffering she endured, Tess had never once disturbed Claire's parents. It wasn't until Claire read a letter from his that his conscience finally awakened.
She is in danger from an enemy in the shape of a friend. Sir, there is one nearer who ought to be away. A woman should not be tried beyond her strength, and continual drop-in will wear away a stone. Imor, a diamond. Signed.
From 2 well-wishers.
2 well-wishers.
He immediately drove his carriage to the farm where Tess once worked, hoping to get news from the butler, but he found nothing there. Then he went to Tess's old home, but a new family had already moved in. At Tess's father's grave, the priest told him where her mother now lived. It was a house Alec had arranged for them. Seeing this stranger who was supposedly her son-in-law, Tess's mother advised Claire not to disrupt Tess's life again. She had already suffered too much. But Tess's younger sister couldn't bear it. She chased after Claire and told him where Tess was living, in a small seaside town. Claire asked around about Tess, and finally, a postman helped him locate her. But after all these years, their lives had changed dramatically. It turned out Claire hadn't abandoned Tess. He had fallen ill abroad, which delayed his return. But time had passed, and Tess was now Alec's mistress.
Oh yes, but it is all too late. I waited and waited for you, but you did not come. I wrote to you and still you did not come. He kept on saying that you would never return, and then he was kind to Mother and Liza Lou. Don't you see? Don't you understand? He has won me back. I am his creature. He is upstairs, in bed, waiting for me. Oh, I hate him. I despise him now because he told me you would not come back. Oh, my angel, and here you are.
Tess, this is all my fault. Please don't.
You must go away from here and never, ever try to find me again. Do you understand? It is too late for me now. I am already dead.
Tess was in deep pain. Though she still loved Claire, they could no longer be together. Claire was deeply hurt by her words. His heart ached with sorrow. After Tess rejected him, Claire had no choice but to leave. Tess tried to calm herself. Looking at Alec in the bedroom, still hurling insults at her, she finally snapped. Alec had ruined her life. She would no longer endure it. A servant eavesdropped outside the door as the argument raged. Soon after, Tess changed her clothes and hurried downstairs. The servant suddenly realized something. Looking up at the ceiling, she saw a drop of bright red blood slowly seeping through. She rushed upstairs, only to be horrified by what she saw. After killing Alec, Tess met Claire at the train station in the final second before departure. Claire learned what Tess had done, but he didn't abandon her again. He decided to take her and flee across the border to start a new life. They didn't dare take the train or use the main roads. They fled eastward without stopping. Day and night, when they passed by their former marital home, Claire decided to rest there for the night. Tess was still as beautiful as ever, and there, Claire made up for the wedding night they never had, but the road to escape was never safe. The next morning, the landlord came to clean and discovered Tess and Claire inside. Realizing they couldn't stay, Claire took Tess and quickly left. They walked non-stop for an entire day and night. Though the dawn was approaching in the east, Tess was exhausted. She needed to rest. Tess knew she could be arrested at any moment. She begged Claire that if one day she was gone, he should marry his outstanding childhood sweetheart. The sound of crows seemed to foretell something ominous. When Claire woke up, he saw the vague outlines of soldiers approaching in the distance. Claire pleaded with them to let Tess sleep a little longer. Tess was arrested and imprisoned, and 3 months later, she was executed by hanging. I'm a movie enthusiast. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.